you so much for joining me on my program once again. I appreciate you wherever you're joining me from. I say good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Accept my greeting according to your time zone. If you have not subscribed to my channel, please kindly subscribe to my channel. Click the notification bell so that you'll be notified each time I upload a video. You can be among the first to receive it. Then go to the comment section at all time. Leave your comment, drop your contribution. If you have suggestions, make it out there. If you have any criticism, put it down on the comment section. It will make us to get better, presenting you a better program.
The DSS says that a plot to set aside the constitution and install an interim government by what the organization described as misguided political actors is real. The DSS spokesperson today, Peter Afunaya, released a statement where he says the DSS has vowed that the secret police will use all arsenals at its disposal to frustrate such plot. Secret police is also saying that some key players in the plot for an interim government in Nigeria have been identified. In a follow-up statement on earlier today, the DSS had said that they did not quite mention any politician, but they say that some key players have been identified in the plot to cause an interim government in Nigeria. The DSS is also saying that the plot being pursued by these entrenched interests is not only an aberration but a mischievous way to set aside the constitution and undermine civil rule in Nigeria, warning that such will plunge the country into an avoidable crisis. In a statement by the DSS, they say, quote, the planners in their many meetings have weighed various options, which include, among others, to sponsor endless violent mass protests in major cities to warrant a declaration of state of emergency. Another is to obtain frivolous court injunctions to forestall the inauguration of new executive administrations and legislative houses at the federal and state levels. This particular matter raised by the DSS gets us talking tonight is a major issue that should concern everyone. What are the intentions of these people who are having these clandestine meetings to achieve an interim government? What does this mean? What are the possible implications of these, and what is the state doing to be able to ensure that there is peace in the land? I'll be getting some insight into that matter and get some expert opinions on this matter. But let's get some insight now. I'm being joined by security expert, in fact, a scholar in violent extremism. He's also a senior fellow with the Tony Blair Foundation. He joins us live from London, Mr. Bulama Bukati. Thank you so much, Mr. Bukati, for joining us tonight. Give us a sense of what this means. Does this raise any kind of worry or tension in the land? Mr. Bukati, it appears you are muted. Could you please unmute?
Thank you very much, Sean. This is a very, very serious matter. As you alluded on the top of your introduction, what the DSS is saying is essentially that some people are planning to wage a war against Nigeria. This move is undemocratic, it is illegal, it is unconstitutional. Section 1 of our constitution is very clear that no, Nigeria cannot be ruled, neither any part of Nigeria can be ruled other than through constitutional means. And the only means recognized by the Constitution is for people to win elections and to be duly inaugurated by the authorities stipulated by law. And therefore, it is unconstitutional. It is also criminal because what these individuals are planning is potentially what is called treason under our criminal laws, and it is punishable by death. It carries the death penalty, which shows that it is one of the most heinous crimes in Nigeria. Now, of course, the fact that this statement is coming from the DSS gives me hope, but also gives me concern. The concern is that the fact that the statement is coming from the DSS means that this is a very, very serious matter. It is a damn serious matter because we know that the DSS has never been reckless with statements like this. They are always serious. They are professional in what they are doing. And now that they are coming out with this statement, it shows that they do have hard evidence that some individuals are unfortunately planning to do something untoward, which will throw our country into chaos. Now, the positive side of the statement coming from the DSS is that since it came from them, it shows that the DSS and other security agencies are on top of the matter. And we know that the DSS has always been very good in gathering information and sharing it with authorities. And therefore, what we will call on security and law enforcement agents is to take this intel very seriously and to take all steps within the bounds of the law to rattle this illegal, unconstitutional, anti-Nigerian attempt.
So, I mean, if you look at what this means, so you look at it, they stated it in that statement and said, part of it, the DSS clearly stated that these meetings have been going on for some time, and there are options on the table for these persons. If the DSS is coming out in this manner, it does look to me that they have a lot of intel. They've gathered enough information, and they've been tracking some of these persons. And they said that their plans include, amongst others, to sponsor endless violent mass protests in major cities. And this, according to them, to cause a declaration of the state of emergency in Nigeria. Another one is a frivolous court injunctions to forestall the inauguration of the new executive administration and legislative houses at the federal and state levels. So the question is, you are a lawyer equally. Can anyone get any injunction from any court in Nigeria to stop the inauguration of a government that is elected, or a president-elect, a governor-elect in Nigeria?
Look, so the DSS is talking about two methods, like you said. One is violent mass protest. Let's be clear that protest, which is peaceful, sensible, and orderly, is constitutional, and every Nigerian has a right to stage that kind of protest, including on Inauguration Day. But it has to be peaceful, it has to be sensible, it has to be orderly. However, where protest becomes violent, then it becomes completely illegal. And where the violence is intended to disrupt an inauguration, then it becomes treason that carries, like I said, the death penalty. Now, regarding courts, the law is very clear. The Electoral Act is very clear that no court can give an injunction to stop an inauguration. But unfortunately, Shaun, we have seen judges and courts in Nigeria using indiscriminately their power to issue ex parte orders. One example recently was the order that was granted to the two main opposition parties to inspect INEC's materials. That is ordinarily legal. But because the court gave this injunction ex parte, that is, it had only one party for those of us who may not be lawyers, without hearing from INEC and other stakeholders, it ended up giving an order that stopped INEC from clearing the rivers so that governorship elections could take place. And what happened at the end of it? INEC had to go and apply before the court and explain to the court why the injunction it gave is going to stop our elections. Only then did the court vacate that order and allowed INEC to clear the rivers and reconfigure it for the state elections. Now, even at that, INEC had to postpone the election by 1 week. That is one danger of ex parte application. Shaun, another example is the June 12th. During the June 12th, court orders, ex parte court orders contributed tremendously in aborting the June 12th, because there were two conflicting court orders. One court gave an order for the counting of the ballots during June 12th to be stopped. That's in the 1992 elections. And another court gave an order that the counting should continue. And at the end of it, the election was annulled by the military administration. That's another case of ex parte injunction playing a role in rattling our country's democracy. And therefore, what I would urge judicial officers to do is to exercise their powers to order or issue expertise orders judiciously and sensibly. Let them have the interests of our country in mind as they issue expertise orders. Anything that will stop inauguration or that will disrupt or destroy our democracy must be resisted.
I've since been joined by the national chairman of the Inter-Party Advisory Council, Alhaji Yabaji Sani. Thank you so much indeed for joining us tonight.
Thank you, Sheldon.
So you've seen the part of that statement, which I'd like our viewers to take a look at again. And I mean, the DSS has restated what its fears are. It says that it's gathered enough intel to tell the nation what is in plan of the sleeves of those who calls that they say that those who are mischievous in their ways. That's how the DSS described them. They said these planners in their meetings have weighed various options, which include, amongst others, to sponsor endless violent mass protests in major cities to warrant a declaration of state of emergency. Another is to obtain frivolous court injunctions to forestall the inauguration of new executive administrations and legislative houses at the federal and state levels. How did this come to you in the first place, Alhaji Yabaji Sani?
Well, to say the least, it's an embarrassment, really, because I believe that the DSS, the constitutional, the agency that is in charge of gathering intelligence and then passing intelligence to other agencies that are supposed to take action, and I don't think it serves the purpose of this country for the DSS to come and make these pronouncements in the manner they are making it. What would have made sense to us is that so person is involved, so person has been arrested or is under interrogation, or whatever action has been taken. Okay, what do we do as politicians or as citizens of the country? We can't do nothing.
Could it be politicians behind this?
Well, nobody's above the law.
No, I'm saying, could it be politicians?
Yes, they say key players in the.
So it's
system.
Likely to be politicians.
But whoever the person is, if they know that the person is doing something that is untowards to democracy, that will scuttle what we are, all this process, I think the sensible thing to do or the lawful thing to do is to take back the person into custody, ask him questions. They could come out and say that, well, so person has been found to be in this, and we have asked questions, he has been released or whatever it is. But to make these, pronouncements to further create some kind of tension, some kind of crisis, that as if we are not in control of the situation, does not really meet the requirement of what I believe.
Let's assume something here, Alhaji Yabaji Sani.
Yes.
I mean, you are a key opposition voice in this country.
Yes.
You are the chairman of the Inter-Party Advisory Council.
Yes.
If there is an arrest of a key political figure within this period, do you think it could raise more tension rather than putting out the information there? I'm just looking at the options that the DSS may have weighed.
Yes.
If you arrest these persons, it may create more tension in the land.
Yes.
Okay, let's manage the communication and put the information out there to be able to kill that idea. Between that and this one that you said, which one would have caused more harm?
Well, each one has its own advantage and disadvantage. All I'm saying is that you don't just take somebody and then lock the sub-party. I'm not saying locking up anybody, but it may serve, the purpose of deterrent. If you mention that this person, although I had mentioned in the reports that the DSS, DSS or the reporter was just quoting that Deti Baba Ahmed, said something that the president-elect should not be sworn in. So, are they talking about Deti Baba Ahmed? And I don't think the law enforcement officers should shy away from their responsibilities to demonstrate that nobody is above the law. That's the point I'm trying to make. I know that if you start arresting, like you said, opposition politicians, it will send a wrong signal. Maybe to some people they will say maybe it's witch hunting, and then what have you. But a case, look at what happened in the United States, January 6, when Trump wanted to interfere with the process of inauguration of Biden. Something happened. They took action. So I believe that as much as we give, we commend the effort of the DSS, but I think they should go beyond that, because I as a citizen, what can we do? We can only say, okay, maybe we are in trouble. And then what do you do? So this democracy is too precious, and if there's anybody that should protect and then really advance the cause of democracy, it is the agencies that are put in place to do just that. We have them. The police are there, the DSS, like we say, is there. Even the presidency, they have a role to play, because every agency that we are talking about, they are under the presidency. So perhaps, I don't know, maybe time has come for Mr. President to say something, to rather reassure.
Alhaji Sani, that this is not the first time we are hearing interim government. Yeah. Before the election,
yes,
there were those talks, those who said that there are plans by some elements in the country that elections should not hold in February.
Yes.
And their plans and ultimate agenda is to cause an interim government and to cause chaos in the land.
Yes.
I mean, this is coming up again.
Yes, it's coming up again because the election itself was not conducted in a manner that most Nigerians expected to be conducted. So if anything like this is happening, if people are calling for this kind of undemocratic means of government, it's because the agency that's supposed to conduct elections did not meet the requirement, the expectation of the people. And they raised the expectation of Nigerians too high, and they deliver so little. So this is why, and then nobody, like the DSS or the police or somebody, has come out on the side of the people to say that what these people did is not right. Maybe it hasn't gotten to that, but the point, I'm not in any way supporting the interim, government or whatever undemocratic, system you want to bring to play. But there is responsibility that everybody in the system, supposed to be accountable for. And in our own case as Democrats, we don't want anything that will scuttle what we are doing. Let the process take its course.
Yeah.
It's now before the courts. Let the courts come out and do the needful. That is, educate, and we are saying the courts should not rely on technicalities, because technicalities does not make any sense to an average Nigerian. What it tells Nigerians is that you are trying to hide something, or you are trying to compromise, or favor somebody, in a way that is not in tune with the expectation of the people.
Let me bring back Mr. Bukati to the conversation. The same question I asked Mr. Sani here on the issue of interim government. This is not the first time that it's coming up. It came up before the election. Now it's raising its head again. It's rearing its head again. What could be behind this interim government concept and idea that it keeps coming back? And perhaps how do we deal with it permanently?
Let's be very clear, Sean. An interim government is illegal, is unconstitutional, and has no basis in our laws whatsoever. Like I said on the top, our constitution is very clear under Section 1 that nobody can rule Nigeria, can be the president of Nigeria or any part of Nigeria, unless through the constitutional means. And the only means contemplated by the constitution is an election. No authority in Nigeria has been empowered by law to institute an interim government, whether president or even the courts. No one has this authority. And I was shaking my head when Mr. Sani was making a statement that appears to justify this call for interim government, saying INEC did not do what it should do, that they raised people's expectations. I agree with him completely that there were issues in the last elections, and INEC should learn lessons from that, and that our courts should do the right thing by listening to all parties and giving a fair judgment. But let's be clear, let's not say anything that will justify anything that is released in that DSS statement. We cannot, as Democrats, mince words in condemning any use of unconstitutional ways to institute any kind of government, whether interim or whatever. And therefore, I think Alhaji Sani should revisit his justification. It's completely untenable. This cannot hold water, and it is dangerous.
Well, I'll allow Alhaji Sani to respond, but I'd like to also, because Alhaji Sani mentioned about the approach of the DSS. in the manner in which they've released this statement. He believes that it's causing more tension in the land. And I threw up another scenario that could be possible: either arrest some of these elements, which, I mean, he has laid a background that there's a possibility that these people could be politicians that are planning this. So if there is an arrest of some element, political element in the country, that's an option. How much of damage and hurt that this could be to our already tensed polity, and compared to what the DSS has done today, if you weigh those options, what do you make of the approach of the DSS and these scenarios?
Look, the release of this statement from the DSS, I completely agree, is going to cause tensions in Nigeria, and tensions are already high. And I am sure it's going to send shockwaves throughout the country. I was shocked to read that statement and to learn that there are Nigerians who are planning to use unconstitutional ways to disrupt our democracy. That's completely unacceptable. The only two possible rationales for the DSS releasing this statement is, number one, for those who are planning to know that the DSS is putting an eye on them. And you know, when people are unscrupulous, people are planning illegal activity, they would think nobody knows what they are doing. But the DSS coming forward with this statement will send them a warning signal that, look, we are being watched and we will be dealt with seriously if we continue with this plan. Number two, I think that the DSS wants to alert Nigerians, because all of us as Nigerians have a duty, we have a responsibility to protect our democracy and to ensure that there is peaceful transfer of power come 29th May 2023. And so perhaps the DSS is warning Nigerians that this is about to take place. Be vigilant and report anything that you may see that is untoward, so that we may take action. And so my call to Nigerians is to be vigilant, is to be worried, but not to be wary, but not panic or cause anything or take any step that would exacerbate the situation further. Watch out if you saw anything you are not clear about, report it to the relevant authorities so that they may take action.
So, I mean, one will also consider whether or not if the DSS has, because in this kind of scenario, you will wonder that these kind of elements will have cleared their tracks so much if they know that if they are caught, it's going to be, because the implications, according to him, who is a lawyer, said that it's treasonable, and, I mean, the penalties are very severe. So, I mean, allow you to respond to what
Mr. Booker was saying. He should understand the fact that, I am the chairman of all the national chairmen of political parties, and I must, state the truth, the fact as it is, because some of my members are affected by the way that INEC conducted these elections. Did not go down well with some of the parties, for good reasons. So I cannot claim that I'm not aware of that. So, and you asked the question, why are people now asking for alternatives? And I said, this democracy is so precious to us. We cannot sacrifice it under any circumstances at all. That I'm not in any way supporting people calling for interim government or whatever other forms of illegal, system. Of government in the country. But the fact of the matter is that when democracy fails, like I always say, we the politicians, political parties, were the first casualties. But the biggest losers are the people themselves. So this is why I am saying that we are not for anything near interim. And that's why I even cited the case of United States. Trump is still, battling with what he did, which was undemocratic, when Biden was about to be inaugurated or confirmed as the president of that country. So nobody, no Democrat will ever support anything that is outside the process that we have, which is ongoing already. But the truth must be told so that corrections can be effected. That's why I'm saying that when you ask a reason, why are people looking outside democracy, for solutions? Because the system put in place, the umpire did not deliver. And my people are suffering under that kind of shabby, arrangement that we had. If I don't say it, who else will say it?
Do you think that the election was not free and fair?
Well, free and fair, but then, people are the promise that you are going to upload the system, immediately after the election, the votes are cast and counted, did not take place. And it was selective. So this is the reason why people are not, in any way,
for that presidential election, I guess that's what you're making reference to. How would you rate INEC, for example, 10 being the highest?
How do I rate INEC? I think I wait until after they finish but
you are talking about the manner in which you go, and you said members of the IPAC, or political party leaders, were not happy. So in that regard, compared to elections, this is not the first time that you have been a presidential candidate. You've contested in the past. Compared to, don't let us go too far, 2015, 2019. How would you rate the conduct and the action, the activities of INEC in this election, particularly on the presidential election? 10 being the highest, 1 being the lowest. How would you rate?
How I would rate is that if you look at the fact of the matter that the same Mahmoud Yakubu conducted the 2019 elections, so he must have acquired some experience, isn't it? And we had from that time until now, and so much money, about $400 billion, naira, was invested in this election. We have technological advancements, that innovations that were brought. People were told that this thing will work. It didn't work. So that is the problem. So the fact of the matter is that if you ask me, if zero is the delivery was zero as far as the expectation was concerned. So how do I rate that kind of performance? So the only thing that the saving grace is that it's democracy. Right. It's so elastic that all the mistakes can be corrected. Because it has that robust environment for us to do it.
Yeah, let's take a breather. I'd like to get your closing thoughts in this, man. Where do we go from here? It appears that some people may not be happy with the outcome of the elections, but then, and it's increasingly causing a lot of stress to the polity. The fabric of the nation is being stretched. People are emotionally and causing ethnic, religious disagreement with people, and you hear those kind of conversation, and it's really causing a lot of trouble. How do we handle this from the security point of view going forward? In fact, this might not have an immediate douse when the new government gets into the office. There must be a technical or a strategic way in handling this. If not, it poses a lot of danger, isn't it?
It does. And I do have 5 recommendations or 5 thoughts regarding how to move forward. Number one, parties who are aggrieved, it is perfectly legitimate to question the legitimacy of an election after an exercise like the one we have witnessed. But the right procedure, the right thing to do if you have any grievances is to approach the courts. It is the courts that the law established to hear grievances, to listen to grievances and give judgments. And these political parties have approached the courts. I would urge them to continue their legal proceedings to their successful conclusion and to shun anything that will disrupt Nigeria's peace and order. That's the first thing. The second thing has to do with Nigerian youth. We need to wise up. We should not allow any politician to use us for illegal or unconstitutional or violent processes or actions. We should understand that this is a criminal offense. Treason is a criminal offense, and if anyone tries to disrupt the inauguration through violent protests or through illegal injunctions, then they are declaring a war on Nigeria, and that is one of the most heinous crimes in the country. Number 3, our security and law enforcement agencies should continue to do their work professionally and within the bounds of the law, and must ensure that they keep law and order in our country and that no one is allowed to disrupt peace in our country for their selfish interests. Number 4, it goes to the question of whether people who have grievances can call for interim government. As I said, interim government, or by whatever name it is called, is illegal, is unconstitutional, has no basis in law, and nobody in Nigeria has a right to institute that kind of government, and therefore we should stop that kind of illegal calls. Finally, I call on Nigeria's international partners, especially Nigeria's Western partners, to take this threat seriously and to make it clear that they would not accept any government that comes into power through unconstitutional means, and they would sanction any individual that is involved in the kind of things the DSS is warning us about. Of course, finally, to President Buhari and the federal government, they have promised to ensure peaceful transfer of power, and they must clamp down on any efforts to disrupt that and to ensure that they fulfill their promise of handing over power peacefully. Of course, political parties that are aggrieved should go to court. They should ventilate their grievances, and it is perfectly legitimate to do so.
Politically speaking, Alhaji Yabaji Sani, how do we handle this? How do we tame the tension? It's rising, and it's probably going to get out of hand if not carefully handled.
Well, Sean, I may have a glass full, person, meaning that I'm optimistic that regardless of the noise, the commotion, and what have you that you are having, believe you me, this democracy we have has the capacity to contain, all the noise and what have you that is happening. What it cannot really, handle is a situation where the agencies of the government that are put in place to guarantee that democracy, succeeds, if they begin to do anything that will undermine the process itself. That's what democracy perhaps cannot accommodate. And here, the government, still have a chance to really, bring back that confidence that people have, had in the process, because it is still the responsibility of Mr. President, that's President Buhari, to ensure that we land softly, on this one, and then in a manner that there will be continuity, and he will have a legacy that he'll be proud of, even long after he has left the scene. So that's we as political parties, believe you me, we don't want to lose this democracy at all. It was through our sweat and blood and everything that we got it. And like I said, the process is normal. What is happening is normal under democracy. We can contain it. That's why most political parties are not happy, are now before the courts. It is now up to the court to step up to the plate and save this democracy too, because all eyes are on the courts now, for them to really do what is necessary to bring that confidence, back into Nigerians, so that we will continue to exist as one great country, which Nigeria is.
All right. Thank you so much indeed for your time. I see that Mr. Bukati was raising his hand. You've got something you wanted to say? Something?
No, I wanted to say I completely agree with Alhaji Sani regarding the role of the federal government, but I think the incoming administration, the president-elect and the vice president-elect also have a role. They have made it clear that they would institute a government of national unity that will include all Nigerians. I think they should take the steps to do that, to include every Nigerian and to give every ethnic group and every religion an opportunity to participate in government, and for them to be president and vice president for the whole of Nigeria, not for their party or their region.
I wonder what a government of national unity looks like. Is it a government or across the party lines, or a government that will just naturally be inclusive? Because, of course, the Constitution has stated that you must put people in the cabinet that will represent the inclusion across the country.
No, but in this particular case, they have to go beyond what we are seeing today in this particular government that, is about to go.
Are you saying that they should reach out to other political parties
exactly
to show inclusion, to extend their hands of fellowship?
President did it, when he came to power, and when we had situations, like this, he reached out to APP at that time, and about, I think 2-3 ministers were given to APP so that to form the government. So it's not...
You think this is possible? A Tinubu-led government can do that? You think so?
Certainly. It's about Nigeria. Okay. The fact of the matter is that, like we said, people are before the courts. That's one thing. And then if President-elect makes the offer, he has done what he's supposed to do.
Right.
It's up to the parties now to take it. If you don't take it, you won't blame it. You don't blame anybody. You won't say you are not given a chance to partake in the building of this country. So I really salute my colleague there, the barrister, because I was going to say it. I just forgot about that, because the national government or the inclusive government at this point in time, it's necessary.
All right. Thank you so much. Alhaji Abaji Sani, National Chairman of the Interparty Advisory Council, and Mr. Bulama Bukati. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for your time tonight.